On Tuesday, the 3D printing community walked into a committee room in Sacramento and put on a clinic. Makers, engineers, teachers, business owners, even the CEO of one of the largest names in the industry all flew in on their own dime to say no to AB 2047. That was round one. June 30th is round two. Let me tell you what happened and how you can help throw a punch with us. On June 23rd, AB 2047 went before the Senate Judiciary Committee. 3D printing nerd executive producer David Tobin, he was there. He testified. In fact, he's the one that's been driving this from the start. He's met with the author's office. He's met with Everytown. He's met with staffers across that entire building. He got up and he made the case. Next to him was Marlene Vogler. She flew in from New York to testify. And behind them, the line just kept going. It was engineers, it was open source developers, it was small business owners and students. This was not one crowd, this was everyone. And Louis Rossman was there, bringing everything to his audience live. He didn't testify, he amplified, and that mattered. Here's the thing the author does not want you to sit with. Everything that this bill goes after is already illegal in California, and it's already working well. Listen to David.
In 2022, this committee put legislation into place that makes the crimes in this bill illegal. It's already illegal to do everything in this bill here. And according to the Department of Justice, the crimes in this bill are down 31% statewide, 50% in Los Angeles.
The whole bill rests on one promise, that there's technology that can take a look at a file and reliably determine that it is a firearm component. Supporters of the bill needed someone to stand up and say that, so they brought someone. Have a look.
Geometric search is the ability to search 3D models by their physical shape, rather than by text labels, file names, or tags. It has a variety of industrial use cases, and it can be directly mapped onto the task of detecting print jobs for regulated firearm components. Geometric search is not a speculative idea. It is mature technology deployed at scale and used every day in engineering and manufacturing.
Mature, deployed, ready. That's the sales pitch. Now here is the woman who ran that actual technology on a real platform with real makers. Watch what she says.
At the software level, these databases will always lag behind innovation and can be easily circumvented and generate false positives that block legal designs and wrongly flag everyday makers. At Thanks, we used similar technology and we removed it. It was not useful for our community.
He sells it, she ran it and removed it. That's the entire debate right there. 2 sentences. So is the bill dead? No, and I'm not going to tell you it is, because the text does say otherwise. It still has some teeth. A sale ban in 2029, civil penalties up to $25,000 per violation, and a new misdemeanor. But here's what the teeth of the bill bite down on. It's not safety, it's paperwork. A printer is legal to sell in the great state of California if it's on the state list. How does it get on that list? Well, a manufacturer signs a form and pinky swears that it has blocking technology on it.
Wait, what?
The state never actually tests whether or not that 3D printer is blocking firearm components. But if you sell a 3D printer that's not on the list, that's when penalties hit. So you can be fined for paperwork while nobody ever has to prove that their printer on the list has to do the thing that this bill is named after. And the technology this all hangs on does not exist. The bill orders the DOJ to publish a standard by 2028, and it points to an outside group to write it. For example, the ASTM. If you're scratching your head about this, there's a really good reason for it. ASTM is real and respected. They write 3D printing standards for things like material quality and printed part strength. You know, manufacturing standards. They have never written a standard for software that scans your files to decide if it's the shape of a firearm part, because that's not what they do. This is like asking a group of people who certify the strength of concrete to come up with a standard for facial recognition software. Or better yet, when I call a plumber and the plumber arrives, it's like asking that plumber to help me debug my software. These are real experts, it's just the wrong universe. So the bill is a real mandate that would punish paperwork and hang on a standard that nobody has written, and it gives itself no way to stop if it's determined that the premise is impossible. That is a backdoor ban on every 3D printer that can't pass a test that doesn't exist. Here's the tell. After testimony, a committee member gave the author an open invitation to answer the opposition's main point.
Just if you could respond to some of the opposition having to do with the technology that's used and maybe sort of putting everybody in the same bucket. That's what I understood in terms of technology. But the other one is it's already illegal.
I'm not sure I understood the first part of your question. I apologize. I don't know if you could clarify. But the second part of your question about it already being illegal, I believe under the leadership of Assemblymember Gibson, we did outlaw the printing of ghost guns. We've seen across the state that they continue to be printed. It's a hard thing to stop, unlike our very strong laws that require manufacturers to put, numbers on guns, make sure that you get a license for it. Guns that are sold through licensed dealers, these are printed in people's homes and we are not able to track them. And so we know they continue to be printed. And so, as I mentioned, New York passed this recently, and it allows for us to put technology on the front end that stops the components from being printed and allows us to prevent it. Now, I don't believe, I may be wrong, but in order to allow for the printing that people are talking about here today, I don't know that it will be foolproof in preventing all printing, but we are going far in making sure that we can stop as many ghost guns from being printed as possible, and I think that's critically important. It is illegal to print a gun in California, but there is nothing to actually stop it. This will stop the printing. Did that make more sense?
This is the author of the bill, Rebecca Bayer-Cahan, and this is her admitting that she doesn't know if the thing at the very center of her very own bill works. There's a reason that she can't answer that, and it's the reason this entire bill falls apart. If you take one thing into the next round, the public safety hearing in June 30th, take the line that David left in the room, the line that this bill cannot survive.
We're talking about a shape. We're talking about an object here. The object doesn't commit the crime. We cannot tell intent from a shape.
That's the whole case. A 3D printer reads geometry and code. It doesn't know what you mean to make. A tube is a tube. The same shape that could be a firearm part is also part of a telescope or a prosthetic or 1,000 other legal things. An object cannot have intent. So when you talk about this bill with people, don't get pulled into a fight about guns or AI or blocking technology. That's their ground. That's their argument. Stay on ours. An object cannot have intent. Hit that and stop.
The defense rests.
Every time we show up and they have no answer for the intent question, we knock another tooth out. Tuesday was punch one. June 30th at the Public Safety Committee in Sacramento, that's punch two. And here is what made the hearing on June 23rd really land. It wasn't one expert. It was the line. Person after person standing up, saying their name, saying what they build, saying they oppose. Engineers, students, teachers, business owners. That line is what makes a committee stop and pay attention. And it's the one thing they cannot argue with. So on June 30th, at the public safety hearing in Sacramento, California, I want to see that line twice as long. You do not have to be an expert. You do not have to give a speech. You walk in, you state your name, and you say you oppose AB 2047, then you sit down. Every person that does this is on the record. And remember, every person that does this makes the person behind them even braver. If you can be in Sacramento that day, get there. Bring a friend, bring your printer, bring some rad prints that you have. Bring the story about what this technology actually does in your life, or your classroom, or your shop. Be part of the line that this committee just cannot ignore. If you can't make it to the room, don't worry about it. You can still pick up a phone. You can call and email the committee members. Everyone is listed on the 3dprinting.com/AB2047. That's the website that we've set up to kind of monitor, keep track, and allow you to connect to the people who are on the committees for these bills. We've got their phone numbers and we've got their email addresses. Make contact, keep it short and polite, but just in your own words, tell your story and why this matters. The one line I suggest that you lead with, whether it's in the room or it's on the phone or it's in an email, a shape cannot have intent. That's the whole thing. Not guns or AI or blocking or politics or algorithms or none of it. A shape cannot have intent. Man, the nerds showed up. That line on June 23rd was 5 minutes long of person after person after person just saying they oppose this bill. I remember there was a shot of Rebecca Bayer Cahan standing there and essentially just turning to this line, and she couldn't believe so many people showed up to oppose the thing that she literally does not understand. And yet she's the author. Be cool, be kind, be someone who prints well with others. If you made this far, you're awesome. Don't forget to hug each other more. Fight for a cause you believe in. Fight for your right to print all the things. And as always, high five. Let's do this.